business. So I'm going to jump in and some of you, I talked about it a little bit last week. I'm going to put this on speaker view real quick. Since we're going to be recording this and putting it over to our YouTube channel. Got to see some powerful speakers at this conference last week in Florida called I Can Do It. Does that sound like Mary Kay or what? And it was a real big shot in the fanny that I needed just in general in life. And one of the big themes that they talked about is just the PTSD that a lot of people are kind of going through post-COVID of, you know, all that happened and all the change and all the shift. And we're still just trying to kind of catch up to all of it. But one of the speakers that I absolutely loved is Mel Robbins. And I've watched one or two of her little, you know, YouTube video podcasts. I'm not a big podcast watcher, but I'm going to start listening to those more. And she's talked, I know it's been talked about a little bit on the $1 Million Messenger, but she talked about a millionaire morning. And there's several versions of it out there because what I did is I took what she shared with us. She was one of our keynote speakers at this conference. And then what she had on a podcast, and then what she had on a recording that I got from the Hay House Publishing. And I kind of put it all together. So it's not just 5 steps, it's actually 6 steps. And some of those steps include some of the other steps. So if you ever watch it, there's going to be, you know, different things added to it. So it's kind of a conglomeration, but I thought how powerful for us. And I'm going to tell you, it's stupid, simple stuff. Mary Kay always talked about KISS, keep it simple, sweetie. And so keep it simple, sweetie is right. These are very, very small steps. And I'm going to kind of share some of her words about it. And she's basically a behavioral expert. She's a study of human behavior. And so she's not just telling you what to do. She tells you science-backed, research-backed reasons why to make these changes. And so I have literally put this into practice because the day after our meeting last Tuesday, I listened to it again and decided I was going to train on it this week. And so I have been practicing these steps throughout this week and can tell you what a game changer it is in the focus. Okay, let's put a little, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go through this and I talk fast and it might feel like it's going around a little bit in circles, but she talked about feeling like $1 million and getting the structure and the confidence. Oh, it looks like it keeps, hold on a second here. Let's do this. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to mute everybody out for just a minute because it's changing the screen. But she talked about feeling like $1 million and getting a structure and confidence and foundation to make millions of dollars if you choose, in a year if you choose, or just in general. She went from being in debt, facing bankruptcy with $800,000 in debt. She said she was overwhelmed. She woke up completely overwhelmed every single day, facing overwhelm, doing everything for everybody else and everything, you know, spending most of her time doing that and never really getting around to what was important to her. She felt like she was making no headway on her own dreams and she was not living up to her own potential. So if you've ever felt that way, this is a great one for you to listen to. She is now the #1 most sought out speaker in the world. And she says that not to toot her horn, it's a fact. And so she's a New York Times bestselling author, self-taught entrepreneur, and an expert in human behavior, in change and motivation. And she's self-taught in this. She does a lot of research. So this is Mel Robbins once again. She discovered some really small things that are going to make the difference in the world, but also for each of us. She wants to share everything that she learns. Some simple research-backed things that you can do to create a better life with your morning routine and to create focus, better life, and make progress and chip away at the things that are really important to you. Staying consistent on those goals, not just you know, having a really, really big win and then nothing to follow up with it. So she also said the hack to make this morning routine stick, it begins the night before. So a part of it's just making the decision. It's how you wake up and spend that critical first hour of your day. So I'm going to get to the components, but these components are based on a ton of research called behavior activation. So she said, start acting like the person that you want to be in the future to become the person that you want to be. And so that's where you have all of the habits and results that give you meaning and purpose in your life, and creating the best version of you, not just in Mary Kay or your work life, but all aspects of your life. She said you can wake up and create an experience or a clean slate every single day by just creating this following morning routine. And you don't have to be a morning person to do this. She reiterated that multiple times. She said, you do not have to be like a 5 o'clocker. Mary Kay always said that's a great thing, but she said, this is something anybody can do, that you have the opportunity to create a new experience in your life by trying these very simple steps. And it's like the beginning it's the domino that falls, and then procrastination and stress and anxiety and depression kick in if you don't have some kind of a structure like this in your morning, or it's possible. She said most respected people that she took some of this research from is Benjamin Franklin, Oprah Winfrey, many, many others. But she said people that have made impact on so many people in the world, a major impact on the world. And she said it begins with the first hour of every day, taking these simple steps that unleash the genius inside of you. So in my world, in the spiritual world, I call it your higher self, kind of surrendering to that higher guidance. So the solution to most of the problems in your life is the morning routine, and creating one that sets you up for success. And you can customize this based on your life as far as the time, but how to get your day, how you start your day is how your day is going to end up. And getting laser focused on this morning routine. She talked about herself a lot. And she said at this conference, she had never self-disclosed so much, but she was showing pictures of herself and her family and everything. She said the old Mal was a disaster before she started doing this, by the way, addicted to excuses, addicted to alcohol every night, feeling miserable, complaining about problems, on the brink of divorce, really not liking herself or her husband at that point. And she talked about, in addition, I don't have this written down, but she had a talk show that she showed us the studio. It's the one where Drew Barrymore has her show now. And so she was already working for news networks and, doing special things. And during COVID, that shut down. And her husband was an entrepreneur. He had restaurants, which also shut down in New York. So literally they had major debt, miserable, unhappy. And these are some things that she did to change it. She said the first decision that she used to make every day a hit was to not hit the snooze button. That's a biggie, to not hit the snooze button. So that is going to be number one. But in a minute, she said she would hit it again and again and again on an average of 4 to 5 times every single day. And she said this is procrastination in its biggest form. Procrastination on starting your life for the day, right? This procrastination, it actually gets you into an avoidance. It spills over into every other part of your life by hitting that snooze button. It makes you avoid the hard stuff. By creating a morning routine, you create simple series of small little promises to yourself that are going to empower you no matter how you feel. That's the big thing. So we talk about discipline. You do the hard thing, or you pick your heart, you do the thing, even if it's not necessarily convenient, until it becomes habitual. But it's sometimes helpful to understand, why am I doing these things, in order to feel motivated to do them. So the number one, I think there's 6 main steps, and I've got a lot more in here too, but is to not hit the snooze button. And she really, really stressed at the conference she was with us to not have your phone in your bedroom. And that's something I haven't done for a long time, just because the electronics and the EMF and, all of that stuff coming through. But if you have your phone next to you, it's so easy to hit that snooze button. If you have to get up and go find it, even if it's in the bathroom, a lot of times you're on your way. Okay. So by having that phone in another room, you can avoid hitting the snooze button over and over again. It leads to avoiding all kinds of things, maybe blowing up the gym, hard conversations, knowing what you're going to do for the day, and your thoughts start ruminating in your head. So she starts off the day. Sometimes you might wake up late and then you're stressed, you're not organized, maybe you missed breakfast, you didn't work out like you were going to, and it kind of chases you all day long, that feeling of, I did not live up to the promise to myself. So this isn't necessarily, by hitting the snooze button, it's not helping you to change your life. So she talked about making a very small series of promises to yourself to start the day, to win that battle first thing in the morning, to avoid anxiety, depression, grief. When they start to take over, the day just goes downhill from there. So it's like creating guardrails on the road of your life by taking these steps. So it's simple discipline, which gives you some foundation and structure. It helps you to also tap into the power. So we're going to get into those steps. So when the alarm rings, she said, get your ASS out of bed. She's got kind of a mouth on her, but she said, get up, get out of bed. It doesn't matter what happened the night before. The only thing that matters is keeping that promise that you made to yourself. So she's the one, she's the founder of the 5-4-3-2-1, kind of that 5 seconds of courage. A lot of people have done a lot of themes around that 5-4-3-2-1 thing that she does. But she says, when the alarm rings, you count backwards 5-4-3-2-1. It's that simple. Get up, get out of bed, keep that promise to yourself and just rely on yourself to do this. Not necessarily for anybody else, but for integrity for yourself. Most people get up, they start looking at their phone, social media, maybe email, work stuff, negative thoughts, anxious feelings start to come in throughout the day, and they kind of hijack your mind. Show your body who's boss. So you're doing this for you, not for other people. Do what you've always done and you'll have what you always have, right? Mary Kay always said that. Do it for you, not because you have to, and not because it's for parents or your kids or your boss or your family. Do it for you. And I'm going to tell you, there's a neuroscientific reason not to hit the snooze button, and it's called sleep inertia. And I don't know if you guys have ever felt this, but I definitely have. So when you hit that snooze, you mistakenly create a condition in your brain called sleep inertia. It's a state your brain gets trapped in for about 4 hours after you hit that snooze button. So, and here's the reason why. When you hit the snooze button, you're awake for just a minute. When you hit the snooze and you drift back to sleep, researchers have figured out that when you do this, your brain starts another sleep cycle, which takes 75 to 90 minutes. And when you complete that, usually the snooze comes on and again, another 9 to 10 minutes. And so when that alarm goes off again, you start to go back into a deep sleep. And again, generalizing if you're able to do that, because you're 10 minutes into another 75 to 9 minute sleep cycle. And you get groggy and exhausted, sometimes a feeling of heaviness. And it can take you several hours because you're trapped inside of a sleep cycle. Again, do this multiple times and you're going to be feeling this way throughout your entire day. So when you get up during the most productive time of the day, which is the first 2 hours after waking up, your brain has the highest speed of processing. And this is when you're the most alert. So you just flush the best 2 hours of brain power down the toilet if you hit the snooze button. If you do it again and again and again, like I said, it takes your day, takes you down throughout the day. So take your power back and seize the day, and it's a wake up call for the rest of your life. Once I heard this, once I knew this, it was a game changer. She said, when the alarm goes off, hit 5-4-3-2-1. It was so funny. I've done some programming for my sleep. So I always wake up a little bit before the alarm goes off. And sometimes I'll lay there and kind of meditate. But today it went off and I'm like, okay, 5-4-3-2-1, just get out of bed. Don't look at your phone. She said, when you get up, if your alarm is on your phone, turn it over. Okay. For these next steps, you do not look at your phone. That is not the first thing that you do. So you don't look at social media, emails, texts, all of that, because you're handicapping your brain for that first time in the morning, that important first couple hours. Give your brain a chance to listen to your own genius ideas first. Don't let your mind get into do list mode because you'll start to get overwhelmed. So let the most powerful part of your brain give you ideas and write those things down. Geniuses make progress, not with to-do lists. It's really allowing the ideas and the creativity and the inspiration to come in and rise to the surface instead of getting overwhelmed with all the little tasks that you feel that you need to do that day. So focus on one thing that you could do to make progress throughout the day. One thing that really matters to you. This kind of reminds me of Bill Cantrell's 5-step prayer process in the morning of getting the to-do list from God instead of having your own to-do list. Now, you probably the night before did your 6 most important things to-do list anyway, so you know the things that are going to be important. But this is giving your brain that first couple hours to be creative, to flow, to allow inspiration to come in. When we talk about even that meditative state, it's like we're listening to that internal guidance rather than letting our brains do the thinking for us. So think about a big picture goal about something that's really important to you and write that one thing down that you get, and then get inspiration and ask yourself, how can I make a little bit of progress on that one thing? There's even a book called that. So you might even want to write down the goal and why it matters to you. Like, why is it important to you? We talk about that a lot, Mary Kay, your why. And she said, that's the only thing that you need to do in the beginning is write down that one thing. And then you can draw a line down under that one thing, and why is it important to you? And draw a line. And under that, if you feel like you have to make a list, you can start putting a few things under that, but have it focused on that one thing, that one goal that you want to start making progress on. It sets up your brain to help you make it happen. It's like a pop up for your brain, to set your brain to kind of remind you by having this one thing listed and then a line under it. And then you can let your mind give you some of the to-dos that are focused on that one thing. So that is the number one thing. And if you start researching her, you'll see several different versions of this Millionaire Morning, and they're in different order. Some are 5 steps, some are 6, but the one that she gave us there was number 2. Am I talking too fast? Are you guys following? Okay. So number 2 is make your bed. I remember Tammy Craig always made such a big deal about this. She said she would like time herself and she could always get it done in 2 minutes. And I do that too. It's just a funny thing. It's just a game you can play. But your morning routine, it's going to be a series of little dominoes that start to fall. But this one thing is about completion. It's about completing things. And if you don't, and if you work from home, especially, every time you go in or around or near your bedroom, you see it. Okay. And it's a feeling that something is not complete. So do this no matter where you're staying. She said, even if you're staying at someone else's house, or if you're staying at a hotel, you get to check a box. It's another thing that you've completed that gives you a sense of a win or completion. She said, another reason for doing it is that it's a way of giving the future you a gift. You walk by that bedroom at night and it's complete and ready for you to dream at night. Plus, it also builds consistency. It's a small, easy thing that you can do. So that is number 2. Number 3, and you may have seen videos about that, but it was really amazing. She showed us the kind of impact that this small thing that she did to herself, which is the high five habit. How many of you have heard of the high five habit, where you give yourself a high five in the mirror? Okay, I hadn't heard of it either. I guess everyone in the workshop that I was in with 2,000 people, a lot of them knew about it. I had never heard of it, but she said, she has a whole episode, by the way, on this one thing. And she said, high five yourself in the mirror after brushing your teeth. She made a big deal about brushing your teeth and kind of pairing this high five habit to something that you do every day. It's called habit stacking. It helps to encode this habit of you brush your teeth, she said, because you just should anyway, and get rid of the morning breath, but you pair it to that, and it's called habit stacking. So it'll remind you, okay, brush your teeth, you've gotten up, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You made your bed, so you can't get back in it, and you brush your teeth, give yourself a high five. So after brushing your teeth, you look in the mirror, see the future you with all of your hopes and dreams realized. So that's the added part to it. And set an intention with yourself and decide who you're going to be today and how you're going to show up. Who am I going to be? And then you just give yourself a high five, knowing no matter what happens today, you are a winner. You can do your very best and to get out there and just make it a really great day. The high five habit is powerful. It's a science-backed way to plow an entirely new neural path and positive relationship with yourself. And I'm going to tell you, so she shared some pretty emotional video on this of how she did it to herself, because she was down in the dumps. Like, life was completely falling apart. Life was lifing on her and her family and her husband and everybody. And, they lived, I think, in New York at the time. Restaurants were failing. They were facing bankruptcy, all the things. And she just gave herself a high five. And then she, of course, started, going, why did that make me feel so good? And so then she did the research about it, but she was sharing how she posted this on social media. It went viral. And she showed many different posts of people who, by doing this, it implanted something where inside of people's brain where they were doing it and sharing it and doing it and sharing it was inspiring people to do it. And how the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and the high five habit, how people's lives were saved. People that were just completely desperate and ready to check out, they were on their way out. And one guy that was really ready to take his life, but this is a true story. She was doing a show, guest starring on a show. I'm not sure which news show. And they actually, after she showed us a video of this, and she talked about the guy and the story, but she'd never met him. They actually contacted this guy and had him in the audience and had him come up and give her a hug. It was so emotional because she was doing this, a lot of what she does is to be able to help other people. She's like, I'm just trying to help people instead of spending decades to learn the things that I have to pass it on to make the world a better place. But it was just really, really impactful of how many people used those two things, the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to be able to take action on something and change something in their life. And then the high five habit, how that really made a significant change in the world at large. Number 4, move your body and move your mind. And she said, all of the above 4 steps that you do, all of this, by the way, you do all of this before you even look at your phone. Your phone is still turned over. And so the second you look at the phone and the text and the emails and all that, the world is on your shoulders. Okay. So you're bringing the entire world into your bedroom or your bathroom or wherever you start your day. The second you look at that phone, you're giving your most important resource, which is your attention and intention and energy to other people, the first part of your day. So conserve that for yourself. Fight to keep that for yourself. You can do a guided meditation for 5 minutes, breathe, read, journal, gratitude, whatever kind of morning routine that you have, but move your body for a few minutes, move your mind for a few minutes. There's all kinds of different yoga things. There's just breathing, there's standing on the grass and getting grounded, whatever, but no looking at text, social media, or work stuff. Put yourself first, have a mindfulness routine, whatever that looks like. So, she said, this is research from the American Medical Association. Even 10 minutes to move your body, 10 minutes of power walking every day can add years to your life. And I'm going to tell you, it's so funny, ever since, this was before I left on that trip to Florida, but since we got back, my little Cooper dog's been coming to me going, I want to go out there with those people, because he sits in the window on this bench all day and greets clients that come over and things, and he's wanting to be out there. So we started taking him for walks, and literally it might be 10 minutes, it might be 15, it might be 20, it might be 30, but Dennis and I, every single day since I got back, have taken him for a walk. And I can tell you something is happening in my body. It's like I'm seeing my body shift. It's the weirdest thing. And I know this because I teach about grounding and earthing and how it can decrease inflammation, and that's the thing that I'm seeing. It can decrease blood pressure, it can increase your circulation, all of that. And so just taking that small brisk walk, she said, just walk fast like you're in a hurry or something, but the best part is that it's fast, it's free, and it's a very easy, quick way for you to achieve better health and a better mood, because you're releasing endorphins. So she said, just walk like you're later, you're in a hurry. 10 minutes of brisk walking can also improve your mood for that reason. So if you can get outside first thing in the morning, it also resets your circadian rhythm in your body by seeing the light. It helps develop better sleep habits and all of this. And again, all this is done before you look at the phone. So it sounds like a lot, but it's just all these few little things that you do for yourself. Number 5, she said, this can help make you a millionaire. And this is called the process principle. It's take 30 before 7:30. Okay, all the things we've already done have probably already taken at least 15 or 20 minutes of your time. But she said, take 30 before 7:30. The secret to getting big things done is to make little progress on the big thing every day. Mary Kay always said, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So that's kind of what she's getting at. Just take 5 to 30 minutes to move the ball on something that's important to you, that really matters to you. And I don't know if this really spoke to me, because I am such just describing, have been in the past habitual about making a big project, even if it might take 2 hours. I wait until I have a whole weekend day to do it. So this has changed things for me big time. I've really noticed a difference by doing these things, is giving yourself a small project and just chipping away at it day by day. Just short amount of time that you have, short segments of time, but 30 minutes to drop the ball, one thing at a time. Take small amounts of time to make serious progress, rather than procrastination by working in small segments of time before 7:30 in the morning. It's like giving yourself the best 30 minutes of your day before you give it away to everybody else. You know, this can be in your kitchen, food prepping, it can be in your parking lot, it can be at a gym, it could be in your car, whatever. But all of this, again, before looking at your phone or going online, working on things that really matter to you. So according to Duke University Professor Dan Eyerly, there's a neurological reason. Again, the best 2 hours of your brain are the first 2 to 3 hours. And this is the genius mind. This is where your peak productivity is. So to focus on the big picture goal before your day gets hijacked. And it kind of goes back to that thing we were talking about, like focusing on one thing that's really important to you and why. And just this 30 before 7:30 is taking 30 minutes to start implementing some action on that one thing at a time. And then the final step, number 6, is to take this advice. And she said, geniuses quit. And everybody's kind of looking dumbfounded, like, well, what does that mean? And she said, give yourself a quitting time. And Mary Kay talked about this a lot on your 6 most important things to do list, because how many times have we spent in our Mary Kay business thinking about it all day long, but not really putting the action in or making progress on it? And so sometimes I remember in leadership classes, they would actually have us write down, what did you do all day? A lot of times you get a whole lot of thinking done, but you're not getting any income producing activity done. And you wonder why you're not further along in your business. So if you're struggling activity wise, if you feel like you're not where you want to be and you're not making progress on your goals, we talk all the time. Not too long ago, I did a class on the numbers game, why you want to play the numbers game. So this is kind of where that would apply, is, giving yourself a start time in the morning, which if you work for anybody else, it's given to you, but giving yourself a quitting time. There's a thing called the Parkinson's law. And again, so many of these, Mary Kay could have written this, but it's work expands to the amount of time that you have available for its completion. So decide when you're going to stop working. Give yourself a deadline on little things in your life. Don't just use the deadline that others give you. And I'm going to tell you, I used this yesterday, partly because I was procrastinating, because I was doing some personal care stuff and the bike ride and spending time with my husband, because I worked pretty much all day Saturday and Sunday on lots of different things. And so yesterday, I really, really wanted to get my closet gutted out. And so it's like, okay, I did all of those things. So I started at 8 o'clock last night, and I ended up literally spending 3 hours getting a project that I've been putting off, thinking I needed a whole weekend to do it. It took 3 hours to do it. And it was a big project. And so I've started actually throughout this entire week doing that on small things. Like, really, how long is that going to take? It takes a whole lot more thinking usually than it does to actually do something. So start giving yourself a deadline. And I was chatting with one of my directors last week about, like, how would we work if we knew that we had 2 weeks to get it done instead of a month? And those are the kinds of things I'm talking about. What would we do different? What action would we take? Because, there's a joke in Mary Kay that DIQ really just takes a couple of days, but they give us 4 months. It takes a very short amount of time. It's because a lot of that work is done in the final hour if you're a procrastinator. And Mel, she talked about herself. She said, I was the world's biggest procrastinator on everything. And she said these small things took her from being almost divorced. She goes, almost an alcoholic, on the verge of bankruptcy, divorce, and just feeling like a failure in life, to being the most sought after speaker in the world right now. She has tons of podcasts. And I never have been a big podcast watcher, but I've watched a couple of hers since getting back, and oh my gosh, she is fierce. And she's like, we call Mary Kay the Velvet Hammer. Well, Mel is just the hammer. She's pretty strong, but she gives you the reasons why. So she said, give yourself that quitting time. Another thing, 80% of the results come from 20% of the efforts. We've heard this before. So you get more out of your life if you do less, but you can spend a lot of time thinking and efforting and taking longer than you need to complete tasks. So you can avoid burnout. These are kind of my words, by giving yourself a stop time. And that's from my own experience in Mary Kay. There have been times when some of us, we throw ourselves into whatever we're doing. And sometimes it's hard to shut it off if there's things that that you can be doing all the time. So if you know that at the end of the day, I'm going to reward myself with an hour of maybe a candlelit bath, or watching one of my favorite shows, or reading a book, or getting out and taking a walk, or doing something to treat yourself. But at a certain time of the day, you are done, you'll be a lot more focused and productive in the time that you do spend doing something. So it also helps to create control and balance in your life. And she said she would even sometimes use an alarm in the beginning, because time would fly and then she wouldn't be ready to stop. But she promised herself, I'm going to stop so I can spend time with my family, or just kind of rest and recharge, or whatever. So you'll be a lot more focused when you do this. And each one of these steps just kind of builds upon each other. So she recommended take one a day out of these 6, and master that one thing. And I'm happy to send all of my notes down, because I took notes from several different resources from her, if you want to do this. But I'm going to recap once more again, if you want, for these 6 steps, which is the first one. Number 1, don't have your phone in your bedroom, and get up the time that you set the alarm. It's up to you when you set the alarm. Okay. Preferably by 7, if you're going to do 30 by 7:30, right? But when the alarm rings, get out of bed. That's number 1. Number 2, make your bread. Number 3, brush your teeth and do the high five habit. You just do high five, looking at yourself in the mirror, seeing yourself, the successful future you that you would like to be. Number 4, move your body and your mind. This can be part of the 30 by 7:30, depending on what your focus is. Number 5, the progress principle is take 30 before 7:30. It reminds me of when I was doing some training with Access Consciousness, tithe to the church of you. In other words, taking money, 10%, setting it aside, saving it before you pay all your bills. So this to me is doing the same thing with your time, which is our most valuable commodity. And then the final step is to give yourself a stop time. I'm going to stop at such and such time, whatever it is that you're working on. And then again, it's all about relying on yourself and not really having to be disciplined. Mary Kay always talked about, until you learn the art of disciplining yourself. I don't even really love that word discipline, but if you can set up your structure for your life, you will never have to be disciplined or told what time to start, when you can take a break, how much money you can make, whatever, by working for other people. And so Mel Robbins has this free 5-day challenge. I haven't looked at it, but it's called the Wake Up Challenge. And it's melrobbins.com/wake up. I think it's probably all one word. melrobbins.com/wake up. And it's called a Wake Up Challenge. It's a 5-day challenge. But this is really going to help you become the future you, and make you feel like $1 million. And if you want to make $1 million. So I was just really impacted profoundly. It was one of the first things that I came home and put into action, from many, many different classes and workshops and speakers from this conference. And again, I'm always reminded that so much of what we hear, outside of the Mary Kay world, Mary Kay had it all figured out. All of these things, it's not new to us. It's things that we've heard, but it is just being reminded. And I love how she gives you steps, but she gives you the reason why, from a behaviors perspective of behavioral change and why we do the things. And so I'm going to kind of open it up for, I think everybody's muted out right now. You can unmute yourself if you want. Oh, it looks like there's some stuff in the chat. Okay.
You spell Mel Robbins? Is it 1 L and 2 B's, or is it got
I
a
think
Y?
it is. I think it's 1 L and 2 B's. Mel Robbins. She's a firecracker.
Yes, it is. I looked her up.
Thank
Okay.
MEL and then ROBBINS. And no, she is not related to Tony Robbins.
Oh,
Did you know that was my next question?
yeah,
That was
no,
so good,
she's-
Denise.
she's- I think
Well,
she's-
no, it's just because when I Googled her while Denise was talking, I Googled real quick.
Yeah.
so I could see the face. And I guess that's a big thing that people say. But
Oh,
anyway,
that they might wonder if they're related.
if she's one of his ex-wives.
Oh, yeah. Well, their styles are both kind of in your face. If you've ever
Oh, but
watched.
her husband's name is Christopher Robbins.
Oh, I
Oh,
love it. Oh, and
aw.
another thing that she shared, which was so beautiful. Again, like Mary Kay stories, how we see women like our $1 Million Messengers, people that were raised in the pink bubble, but her daughter, how she had this dream. She talked about full circle because she spoke a few times to us, but she talked about full circle events, like of setting an intention of something, and how her daughter had said she wanted to, write and sing in front of lots and lots of people. And fast forward how she was magna cum laude, I think at USC, if I'm not mistaken, but anyway, somewhere in California, and how she started by singing the national anthem at a lot of different places, and how kind of her full circle moment in the beginning of her career was she got to sing the national anthem for their graduating class in front of 75,000 people. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. And she played it and it was beautiful. And she goes, and I don't know if she's going to achieve her goal. She goes, I believe in her. I just don't know how willing she is to work and make it happen. And so she wasn't playing favorites, right? But she was encouraging to her daughter. But she really, really stressed. It's just kind of like when people in Mary Kay say, I don't know how successful you'll be. Linda Tupin always says this, I don't know how much money you're going to make. I don't know how successful you're going to be because I'm not sure how, willing you are to work. And I'm going to add to that on yourself. Work on yourself because, I've touted for a while and I built my Mary Kay business, I would say the hard way, through a lot of efforting, and made it so much harder than it had to be for a lot of my years in my career building Mary Kay. Working against my own self-talk and my resistance and my thoughts and my desperation and my control personality and all the things. I've learned so much through that, of really getting into alignment and working from this place of attraction. And so it kind of lines up with, you can do a lot less efforting and achieve a lot more results if you're in alignment, meaning that you are vibrationally in the feeling state of that which it is that you want to achieve. Feeling it, seeing it. Yes, you're going to have to take action for sure. But instead of it being this blood, sweat, tears, 24/7, eat, sleep, breathe, blood runs pink, all the things that, back in the day, a lot of the pioneers taught us, because that's what they did. The energies are shifting, and we can really work from a place of attracting and being, in harmony with that which we want to attract. And therefore, it's less of, I guess, what I would say, of the outreach or the efforting. It's like drawing it to you. You might find that you're just in the right place at the right time. And, I always say blessings are chasing me down, and, people do chase me down in parking lots, and all kinds of crazy things happen when you're in that state. But again, I was reminded to put my focus on that again, being out and about and stuff like that, of, finding those opportunities and attracting those opportunities wherever you go. And finding and attracting the kind of people that you want on your team and your customer base, the kinds of customers you want. Really, this is kind of an aside to the training from Mel, but I do believe that it is. Yes, I love that, Deb. That's one of my favorite things now, is what you're seeking is also seeking you. So when you focus on what it is that you want, you draw, like attracts like. So people who want what you want, they're looking for you too. So it's about kind of getting out of yourself and drawing those opportunities to you. It might mean that when you're doing that thing in the morning and you have a big thing that you're focusing on, it might be that you get some inspiration to go to a place that you've not been, or to try something that's been taught on maybe in a Mary Kay class or a video that you've never tried, because you might find that you like it. One of my least favorite things that we used to have to role play on in our meetings was worm chatting. I was pretty shy and kind of inward and self-conscious, and that's just how I grew up. It's just how I was. And that was my least favorite. That's the majority of how I build my business now, and for a long time, is through just finding those opportunities and getting to know people and loving up on people, and getting social and getting outside of my comfort zone. And we all, I would say generally speaking, a lot of the world has drawn inward, and again, it's a time for us to focus back on unity and oneness and the fact that all of us are connected. And so focus on who you want, what you want, all of those kinds of things, and draw it to you. Oh, and then oh, where's my phone? So then it was funny because I found the exact same, this most perfect closing. And then we can still discuss, but I texted it to myself. Where'd it go? That actually went along with this. And I just happened, again, this is synchronicity, right? And it's called Summer Rules. And I might have been on a Mary Kay director thing, because I do scroll a few Voxer things. So have you made your bed, brushed your teeth, brushed your hair, gotten dressed, had breakfast, plus 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of writing or coloring, clean one room or some kind of a chore, played outside for 20 minutes, made or built something creative, and helped someone in your family. Then you can use your electronics. So I'll put this on the Voxer group because I thought it was kind of cute, and it fell right into alignment with what we talked about tonight. Again, it's usually those small, simple things that, number one, it's achievable, it's doable, because it's not a gigantic thing. It's small, simple steps to move in the direction of the life that you want for yourself. Not that someone else wants for you, but that you want for yourself. Okay.
Great training, Denise. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
so
yeah.
glad that you shared what you learned with us.
Oh, I have a lot more where that came from.
Yes, but this is a great starting point.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, it's made an impact for me. Literally, it's been a week. I got back last Tuesday, and it's been a week, and I'm seeing a big difference in my passion and just movement and momentum, and just remembering, how much we've got another month of our seminar year. How much magic can we pack into this last month of our seminar year? 60th anniversary, special things for our customers, creative things. So let's all just use our minds and share, with other people on the Voxer group, of things that you come up with, that you would like to share with the group, of things that we can do, with your team, with your customers, or for yourself. Because I've been doing every single one of these things. Some of it I already did. I already didn't have my phone in my bedroom. I already got up when the alarm went off. In fact, it was funny. My roommate at the conference, she goes, "Oh my God, you just pop right out of bed. Like, are you just always full speed ahead?" I'm like, "No." And like, she had her phone right next to her on the bed. And I go, "Oh, I don't have my phone even in the same room, just because of, sleep disturbance or whatever." And, but Mel did say, you can, if you're, because I have a meditation app on there called Breathing Room. So I do use my phone for my meditation for one of the guided ones. I don't have to, but I enjoy it. I love my teacher's voice and the music in the background. But she said, as far as like checking work stuff, email, texts, do not feel obligated to do that. Set your boundaries. And I've had to work a little bit on that this week for sure. But, start putting these little things into action, and see what a shift can happen in your life. This is what she attributes to getting out of that slump that she was in, where she was literally just on the brink of having a nervous breakdown just a few short years ago. And she's, went from 800,000 in debt to making millions. I don't even know what she makes for her talks and things like that. But it's not just about the money. It's about whatever it is that you want to go after. So
Totally agree. Because I was like, I haven't put my phone next to my bed for years. I've not done that. Just those little things, that I already do.
Mhm.
And then just that focusing on, getting up, making the bed.
yeah.
And, the high five. I love that, because that's so simple. So simple. And then I don't touch my phone until I'm, ready. I don't go there. I don't like waking up and seeing the first thing. And so a long time ago, I stopped doing that. And until I'm ready, like if I get up extra early, then you'll all hear from me early. If I don't get up extra early, I still like do my little things, yoga, stretching, whatever. And and
Yeah,
then get on. And it's made a huge difference for me, just those few things. So I can't wait to implement all 6
yeah.
diligent and consistently.
I mean, for me, the big one that made a really big impact for me was literally just 30 minutes of working toward a big thing that you want.
Right.
30 minutes a day and giving that time to yourself before you start giving it away to the world. And she talked about, if you're a mother, kids, or if you have aging parents that you're caring for, checking in on them or whatever. And so it may be, depending on your life situation, that you need to get up at 6 and do it before 6:30, depending on your lifestyle. But 7% before 7:30 was kind of the she called it, there was a name for it. The progress principle, making progress on that big thing. And a lot of people that were at this conference are, wanting to write books and things like that. And a lot of the speakers were people who had written books and things like that. And, if you wait until the time when you are inspired, I'll never forget my ex-husband's mom, as he was going to medical school, and not necessarily, school wasn't always the easiest for him. Let's just say some people are total academics. She said the only way, and this is what he said helped him get through medical school, and I've used this over and over again, the only way is yet to complete a hard task is to set to work and do it. And so Mary Kay always said starting is half done. And so sometimes it's just taking that step. Like we don't even take the step. So this is a way to start taking the step and feeling the win first thing in the day, but you're doing it for you. You're not just start. Yes, Debbie, just start. So anyway, that's what I have for today.
I would highly
hashtag just-
recommend that you could go, all her podcasts are on YouTube.
Oh yeah, she's got
So
tons.
you can go to the one on the morning challenge and listen to the whole thing, because it really is quite fascinating.
And then
she talks about,
it's totally different
everything.
order and it's different things than what I had in here. So don't get confused by that. She's got a few different versions of it, but yeah, it's excellent. It's got all of this, not all of this. It's got some of this in there in that.
It's got all of that, but it talks about, how she got there and where she came, that because of the way she would not do things at night, if you don't prep at night, even to, like, she wouldn't make the kids lunch at night, and then she was hitting the snooze bar in the morning and all of that, and then they were late getting out the door because she didn't do the lunch at night, and so it's that domino effect. And
she's
everything.
got so many topics. And when they were introducing her, they did say something about like human behavior for change behavior, something like that. But basically that's kind of her niche, is change in human behavior, basically. But then she backs it up with a lot of research and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
And she's really in your face. So just if you're
I love her.
4-letter words, just go, okay, sometimes she's just making an impact. It doesn't bother me the way that she instigates it, or,
Listen to her all the time. So,
yeah. Oh, good. Well, hopefully this was a great reminder for you then, Jen. And by the way, congratulations, Jen, because I don't know if you heard that, Jen has already completed the Golden Girls again for this month too. So congrats on that.
Thank you.
And yay. And then anybody else have anything before we close? All right.
Did you guys talk about and congratulate everybody for our Dine with the Directors? For those of you who didn't see the pictures, they're on our Facebook page.
Thank you for
doing congratulations to everyone who was there and those who qualified that weren't there. I always forget the names, and I'm not, like, sometimes I try to tag and I can't tag everybody. So sorry if I don't mention you or say something, but for everyone who's qualified, congratulations for, qualifying to Dine with the Directors. And I know Deb was there, Mary was there, Kelly was there, Denise and I were there. We ate really well.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
And we had a great time. I did anyway.
It was awesome. All right, everybody, have a wonderful, fantastic week. Remember, last day of the month, tomorrow, to place orders. Everything counts for your units, and let's just make some magic happen. 30 days is a long time. We have 30 days in June. 30 days is a long time to make some pretty special things happen. So thanks for getting on, and have a wonderful and fantastic week.
Thank you.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you. Good night.